Hi everyone. We're going to continue on with the finger exercises that we did in the tutorial or the introduction to finger exercises. Now that we're playing some songs where we're starting to put some runs in and using single notes, we're going to do some tutorials here. And we had an introduction that we did, had a very simple exercise. And then we repeated the pinky. So we're going to do a continuation of that today, okay? And the new sheet's going to have all the exercises. There's 3 that we're going to start with. There's many more exercises that can be done, but these 3 will get your fingers moving and get you up to speed. So let's do a quick review. First of all, the metronome. We talked about using the metronome, very important when doing exercises to make sure you're playing in time, playing cleanly in time. And we found out that some of these tempos were relatively slow. In fact, we were playing the original exercise at 30. My metronome didn't even go down that low. But we found that 30 was a very slow speed, and that by doubling that time from 30 to 60, that gave us our 8th note. So now every time the metronome clicked, click, 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 we were actually playing a note, and that really helps to keep us in time rather than just have it on the quarter notes. We're going to do the same thing today, except I'm assuming that you guys have spent some time with this, with the other exercise. So we're going to start at 40. That's the lowest speed that my metronome has. I'm going to double that to 80 so that it has all the beats. So for that first exercise we went over, there's 80. So again, not too fast, but that's where we're going to start for today, okay? The other thing we want to review is we were picking the notes with our thumb. You can use a pick. I just wanted to make sure that you really are concentrating on using a down-up motion, not just a down motion. As things get faster, you have to be able to play with a pick up and down. And in fact, the third exercise on your sheet today, we're going to take some notes on that on the pick, because some interesting things happen when you're only playing 3 beats or 3 notes on a string. So we'll touch base when we get there. The other thing is the fingers are still assigned. We're still going to have them assigned in 4 frets like they do. They're not going to be moving around and stuff. They'll be staying in this position. But one big thing that we're going to do, and if you notice, even on the very beginning exercise, I've moved this. We're going to start on the 6th fret. The reason we're going to do that is that if you took your baritone and you capoed at the 5th fret, you now basically have a ukulele. That's exactly the same pitch that a ukulele is. So by having you guys start your exercises on the 6th fret, that's just like capoing here. Now when we play these exercises as a group, which I'm going to start doing for little warm-ups and things like that, you guys can play along and everybody's going to be playing the same note. So the first thing you want to note is we're not playing down here. You can move those down there and play them if you want, but I would suggest getting comfortable playing them at the 6th fret. Because that's where we're going to play them as a group. Okay, so let's get started. Let's take a look at this second exercise. We already have played the first, so let's take a look at the second. Second is very similar. Again, 6th fret, except instead of your fingers just following a pattern, index, middle, ring, pinky, it's a little different right now. You'll notice that it's index, ring, middle, pinky. Just like that, okay? Then that's going to move down the strings. And then when we get to the bottom, we're going to repeat with the index finger to get us back down, okay? Just like that. Now let's play this at 80. You'll find it's not near that fast. And here we go. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and now we repeat the index. And the only reason we're doing that is it keeps us in time with the metronome for the full measures. Just like that, okay? So that's number 2. Very similar to number 1, okay? except now we're kind of splitting our fingers up, okay? Now let's take a look at the third exercise. This one is interesting. What happens with this, we're not going to play 4 individual notes on the string. We're only going to play 3. And you'll notice that the pattern is index, again on the 6th fret, index, middle, pinky. Then when you change, index, ring, pinky, index, middle, pinky, index, ring, pinky to get down to the first. Only 3 beats, only 3 notes on a string, okay? Now, when you back up, we are going to back up with the pinky. Pinky, ring, index, pinky, middle, index, pinky, ring, index, pinky. Now you'll notice if you wanted to count this, it's very odd. You don't get everything back to 1 until you actually end up back here and go to repeat. Just so you can see, this would be the counting. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and, now if you were to repeat it, 1 and 2, and it starts over like that. So I'm not going to put the counting in. We're just going to play to the beats. Let's try this first, and then we're going to talk about the pick for those of you using a pick. Metronome set at 80. I will count to 4 because we do, after 3 measures, revolve around to 1 again, but I won't count once we get started. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. 6th fret. 1. Index, ring, pinky, index, middle, pinky, index, ring. Repeat, pinky, ring, pinky, middle, index, pinky, ring. And we repeat. Pinky. And again, metronome is set at 80 to capture all those beats. Okay, now let's touch base on this one for those of you playing with a pick. On the other exercise that we did, pick was in a down-up motion. Okay? Always down up. Now you run into an issue because when you had the 4 notes, the pick was on a downbeat when it changed strings. On a downbeat here, and a downbeat there. So all your changes were happening with downbeats. Now that we have 3 beats, or 3 notes that are being played before you change strings, you run into an interesting thing with the pick. You're going to pick here again, 6th fret, down, up, down. Now you need an upstroke, but you're changing strings. So you actually want to make an upstroke on this 3rd string. Now you are down on the 2nd, but you're up again. And now you're down on the pinky. Now you're on an upstroke. Down on there. Up, which gets you back to a downstroke to repeat. So notice that. If you want to take the hand out of that, what you want to do is do this to practice. 3 beats, so it's down, up, down, and you change. So to practice it, you could go down, up, 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 down, up. Very important to learn this technique if you're going to use a pick. As you go faster, it's imperative that you learn how to do that. So remember, you're going to end up with ups and downs as you're changing strings. But notice my hand is constantly playing down ups, okay? Very important if you're a pick user on this third exercise is to get used to this technique, okay? So again, we played at 80 beats, okay? 40 beats per minute, but we were using 80 so we could get all the beats, the 1 and 2 and all our beats in there, okay? If that was a little too fast, slow it down to 72, take it all the way down to 60, whatever you need, but you need to make sure that you play it clean, all right? Hope you enjoy.